Welcome everyone. Our Sunday afternoon talk with our very special guest, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj, who to most of us needs no introduction, but for any of those who don't know him, he is a charger of our mission and very beloved devotee, associate of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, and one of the leaders of our mission ongoing today. Maharaj, I'm just going to pin this on here, my name. And today also is, according to the calculation of Hari Bhakti Vilas, Maha Shivratri. So we are marking that occasion today and giving our obeisances to Lord Mahadev, who is the Vaishnava Shrestha, the leader of the Vaishnavas, and also the disappearance day of our dear godbrother Yudhamanyu Prabhu Seva Vikram, who passed away. How many years now?
I think this may be the third year.
That was in China, when he was in China, preaching in China with the group of devotees there. They had a festival on this day, and then he went and took rest after the festival and entered into eternal rest with his Lord in Vrindavan, no doubt. So anyway, we're very happy to that we have with us today Srila Janardan Maharaj, and we're hoping that he'll speak some Hari Katha for our benefit.
Maybe you can take Cookie out into the backyard. That's her name, Cookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you give her a cookie, she'll go into the backyard.
She likes to come
And
hear the Hari Katha. Yeah, she's great.
Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shlakaya Chakshuram Tamyana Tasman Shigurave Nama Gurva Vishnam Supurakam Gurganara Sisha Sambhashidam Chintya Samasta Vedaniparam Shirupapatanagam Govinda Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwa Guru Divya Bhagavat Premanam Pranam Devam Divya-taram Suchandavaranam Bhavarkashilanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sarikavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta-nidim Subhakti Lasitam. So, Daivi Prakriti, she is empowered by the Lord to delude the conditioned souls. But it says, Mam evadya prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. But if they will surrender to the Lord, if the souls will surrender to the Lord, then she releases them. She doesn't provide any obstacle for those who are surrendered to the Lord. We see that all the time in nature. We have this great dilemma or dichotomy, you could say, between free will and destiny. And some people never get that straight. They never can understand that. That I have the free will. I can walk across the street without looking, and destiny can be that I'm run over by a truck. But I have free will. My free will allows me to, I don't need to look. I can walk across the street blindfolded. But then maybe there's some consequences for that. Free will, destiny. But if someone is a surrendered soul, there's a different situation. Like we heard, I think Devashis was speaking the other day about when Srila Guru Maharaj put the tulsi on the altar at the Bhag Bazar Gaudiya Math during the installation of the deity. And Bhaktisiddhanta, normally that installation was done by what, Shroti Maharaj?
Yeah.
And Shroti Maharaj knew that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would install the deities by putting the tulsi at the lotus feet of the Lord. And how many times will this happen?
Many times. Only a cat may look at a queen.
So, Shroti Maharaj wasn't there, and Guru Maharaj was asked to do the installation, and he did everything perfectly. But at the same time, he didn't know that the installation procedure that Srila Saraswati Thakur followed was to put tulsi at the lotus feet of the Lord. And then when Srila Saraswati Thakur saw that tulsi is there, he remarked that the deities had installed themselves and spoke that way for several days, till Guru Maharaj said to Srila Prabhupada, please forgive me, I was the one who in my ignorance put the tulsi there, and it was my fault that this happened. I have committed an offense. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he said that among Vaishnavas there is no question of offense. And what is the exact wording he said?
Who is surrendered, there's no question of offense.
Who is surrendered, there's no question of offense. So Guru Maharaj was given his high certificate. So like that. Mam evadya prapadyante mayam metam tarantite. Those who are Param Vaishnavas, of course, they're not under the stringent laws of this material nature. And the nature of Lord Shiva is that he is an eternal servant of the Lord. We see that he has the Ganga coming from his hair. I explained that, how the Akash Ganga was entering when Lord Vamanadeva's toad pierced the covering of the universe, and that Ganga was coming with great force. So to save everyone, Lord Shiva caught the Ganga in his hair. I'm very humble. It shows that he's taking, we'll take the foot dust of the Vaishnavas upon our head. Lord Shiva is taking the foot water of Vishnu upon his head. This is what it shows. Where is that? Ganga-matri, is it? Or the
Gangotri.
Gangotri. Well, the Ganga's entering in the Himalayas. So, I've come here to London, and I'm looking to have the blessings of the devotees. I'm going to Sri Navadip Dham or Gaur Purnima. Srila Govinda Maharaj told me every year I want that my sannyasis will all be present during the time of Gaur Purnima. So I still remember that instruction of Srila Gurudev, and I'm considering that until I leave this world, I will try to do that. I will try to go every Gaur Purnima to the Holy Land of Navadip. So this year, some difference. Before I was going to Nishringapali, Acharya Maharaj was there, he had a temple. Then Nishringapali is mentioned within we could say the parikrama path of Sri Navadvipam. It's would occur on I believe the third day of the parikrama. We would start by going to Surabhi Kunj, then to the house of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then we would go to Harihara Kshetra, Suvarna Bihar, and then we would go to Nrsimhapali. And there's stories in the Navadvipam Mahatmya about all these places, of course. At the same time, when we would get to Nrsimhapali, the kirtan party would go back, and it would take hours to get back from Nrsimhapali. It was far away. So this year I'm going, and then I will go to Kolkata. And there's actually nowhere to go in Kolkata. Not this would, for me anyway. And then I'm going from Kolkata to Tarakeshwar. Tarakeshwar is near Kalna. Not so near, but maybe an hour away. Kalna is the place of Gauridas Pandit, and he had the deities of Gaur-Nityananda, and only 3 deities are worshipped during the time of Mahaprabhu. Vishnupriya's deity of Mahaprabhu, Dvijavaninath, his deities of Gaur Gadadhar, and the deities of Gauridas Pandit, which are Nitai Gauranga. So, but we never went to Kalna. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I did not also go to Kalna until one time I had some legal business to do there, and I asked Srila Guru Maharaj if I had permission to go to the temple of Gauridas Pandit. He says, otherwise I'd never gone there because I did not have service to go there. It's not so far from Navadvip. What is it? Maybe 1 or 2 stops before the train gets to Sri Navadvipam. But it is far to walk. It is very far. You cannot go so far to Kalna normally. And Tarakeshwara is a famous place. It's where Bhakti Vinod Thakur received instructions not to leave Navadvipam from the deity. Actually, their deity of Tarakeshwar is Lord Shiva. It's the temple of Lord Shiva in Tarakeshwar. And also Guru Maharaj said he had relationship anyway. So I'm going to Tarakeshwar. From there, we'll go with the devotees to some place rented in Godrumadvip. Actually, it's on the island of Godrumadvip. It's, what's the name of the island? It's the place is called, my memory is failing me, but it's on the island of Godrumadvip. And from there, I'm considering that's very convenient to be it's right within in the parikrama path. Because we'll be able to go from where we are in Godrumadvip, as we do on the 3rd day. We'll be able to go to Surabhi Kunj, to Bhakti Vinod Thakur's house, and then Harihara Kshetra. It'll be perfect. So strange situations that we find ourselves now. What is the analogy? Like orphans, you can say. Not really orphans, but this is the situation. And I went, actually, in May, I went to India. in May. Did I come here also? Came here in May. During the time of Akshaya Tritiya, we went to India. And there we had to say that before Acharya Maharaj had been overseeing all of India. It was his, Govinda Maharaj gave him special responsibility, we could say, for India, the holy Dham there. And then he passed away, and we were thinking, now everything is chaotic in India. So we asked Acharya Maharaj's disciple, Bhakti Maharaj, to take some responsibility. Because I thought, well, he'll have some acceptance of the devotees. And it showed itself when he went to, during Jagannath Puri Ratha Yatra, he took 650 persons with him. So to me that shows some acceptance. And also I asked to Ashram Maharaj and Puri Maharaj. We went there and I thought people were going to beat us or object to what we were doing. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter, because even we will try to establish it. Niraya Maharaj is Acharya Maharaj's successor. Even if they beat us, it doesn't matter. If we have to do so in a closed room, we'll do so. But I was thinking, I didn't think there, and I asked, and we did it in this temple at Tarakeshwar, and then 40 sannyasis came from the Gaudiya Math, and they all gave their blessings, and there were 800 people in the temple. So I thought, well, something is happening here. Some blessings are coming. They're coming from so many sannyasis of so many maths. In fact, I may be 78 years old, but I felt like in the story of Lord Brahma when he asked to what is it again? He told the gatekeeper when to see the Lord, and they said, who is here? And he said, I'm Lord Brahma. And then Brahma of 4 heads, and he was told the Lord Dwarkanath, Lord Brahma is here, 4-headed Brahma, okay, show him in. And then Brahma had his questions, and then he asked the Lord, are there any other Brahmas? I'm 4-headed Brahma, aren't I unique? And then the Lord called so many Brahmas. They came, and there were, 10-headed Brahmas, 100-headed Brahmas, 1,000-headed Brahmas, 1,000,000-headed Brahmas. And he felt like, and the jingling of their crowns, touching the ground, touching the floor, and offering their obeisances to the Lord, sounded like the reciting of the prayers of the Vedas. And then they couldn't necessarily see each other. That was the Lord's answer when he asked, are there any other Brahmas? And then they all left, and then like that was the answer to his question, are there any other Brahmas? So when I was there, and so many sannyasis came from the Gaudiya Math, I didn't know them, but like we heard from Srila Govinda Maharaj, the story of, was a story where Tarksha was calling all this, he was calling, Tarksha was the snake bird who had bitten Parikshit Maharaj. So Janamanjai had wanted to do one sacrifice, to sacrifice all the snakes into the fire. And Srila Govinda Maharaj was describing that there were so many big, sadhus and rishis and all that, with their beard, long beard. And he was saying, so he was asking them, can you make can you make a sacrifice with all this, where all the snakes and, including Archa, they'll all come into the fire. And Govinda Maharaj was saying, they were all stroking their beards and saying, can. So Govinda Maharaj was telling it in a humorous way. But honestly, that's more or less, what was I saying? When Lord Brahma was, when he was there in the assembly of so many other Brahmas, then when all these sannyasis came to Tarakeshwar and they drove 3 hours in the rain, and they're big, big sadhus, and I may be, okay, I'm an acharya, whatever, but, I'm coming from America, and they're all Bengalis, and, they look the part, and they're everything, and I'm feeling like a small Brahma, and I'm surrounded by so many other Brahmas like that or something, and they all came, and then one of them took charge, one of the leaders of them took charge, and then everyone was allotted 5 minutes to speak, and the whole program took 5 hours, besides that, the prayers and everything. So that was very nice, like that story of Janamanjaya's yajna also reminded me of they didn't necessarily have long beards like that, but they all look the part, that these people are real sadhus, they look like sadhus, you see them. And I didn't expect any of this. I didn't know what was going to happen. We just went there thinking that maybe we could do something, and all of a sudden it seemed to me that we got some confirmation. To me it was confirmation that yes, we're giving our blessings to this person, to Narayana Maharaj, they're giving blessings to him. And I felt like, and then he has some blessings to take charge. And we're finding so much chaos in India. If I go to India, I can't go to the Math. If I go to Nishingapali, I can't go to the Math. If I go to Hapania, I can't in all consciousness go to Hapania. Even if I go to Ekachakra, there was some difficulty. Everywhere there is some kind of difficulty, and everybody's naming themselves as auto acharyas, instant acharya, just add water. And that's the way I felt. Had to be some kind of detente. You know the word detente? Some detente. Now, definition of detente means some truce, not truce. I'm not signing any truce, but some detente from the hostilities. That's what I felt. Anyway, and I'm going back to India, and I will go to Tarakeshwar, and I will go to Godrumandeep. And other devotees they're going during the time of Kartik, and they're going to Vrindavan, which is very nice. But I'm also feeling that I have the order from Srila Govinda Maharaj to be present during Gaur Purnima. And sure, I can go to the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. I could visit there. During May, when I was there, during May, I visited the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, and I saw the arti, noon arti, and then they opened. Bhutadi was there, and he had the pujari open Govinda Maharaj's samadhi and Guru Maharaj's samadhi, and then they took us up onto the veranda of Govinda Maharaj and the veranda of Guru Maharaj, and then we were given some prasadam. But I was not thinking that I would stay there. I was not thinking when I would stay there, because for me it was associated with some heartbreak. The whole thing was associated with some heartbreak. I felt like I'm a visitor, not that this is my home. And it gave me pain. But at least I must have darshan of the samadhi of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. I must have that darshan. I went there. And that, it is, here's our visitor again. Not visitor, resident. A resident feline. Just put her on your lap or something. I don't know. She's determined. She's determined. Just.
It's okay.
I guess there's no other alternative, is there?
No.
She's devoted.
You take her. Yeah. Yeah.
Giving service. Yeah.
There you see, she wants to be on your lap. Huh?
She wants to listen to you. Yes.
Yeah, everybody's looking for affection. Everyone wants affection from the devotees. Devotional cat wants affection from devotees.
She's talking old, Maharaj, and
Huh?
she won't curl her.
And she's doing service. I'm sure she's removing rodents.
Good service.
Generally, rodents won't come where there's a smell of a cat. They won't come. So she has some service to do. I once saw a cat entering up the steps towards the mandir. And I said, is that cat entering into the mandir? And Govinda Maharaj said, perhaps, but that without permission. So, and Govinda Maharaj has remarked many times about his friends. I'm one of his friends. He called me that. He said, all my friends are crazy. So, as I was saying, at least we can visit to Navadip and go on parikrama. If I have to pitch a tent on the road, I'll do so. Yes, that's our desire. To go on Sri Navadip Dham Parikram. And we can do so every year that I'm able to travel. And then I will come to London, try to come to London every time I go on that trip also. Because when the devotees wanted to go through Asia, is more restricted now. Some devotees wanted to go through Hong Kong. And they were just going to be in Hong Kong 2 hours, and then India wanted to have, a COVID test. And to get that COVID test cost like $100 or something. Although you could do it yourself, free. But anyway. So I like coming here to London, and certainly Green Street. This is the original place. Here's the deities of Shishi Guru, Gauranga, Radhasham Sundar, and I will always remember Devashis also for being here and taking some charge. He has also Lavanya and so many wonderful devotees. Sachi, daughter. I can't name all the devotees. And of course I come here, I see Mr. Vyas and his dear wife, and many old friends. So that's my...
But Maharaj, this is your Guru Maharaj temple.
Yes, this is...
You are always welcome.
Guru Maharaj, He's my, you could say, yes, it's his temple. It's also Govinda Maharaj's
Govinda
temple.
Maharaj was.
It's so many years we came here. Every year we would come here and we would stay in this temple. And I don't know how so many people were accommodated in this temple. You know, to be honest, I mean, I'd be downstairs, I'd go to the bathroom downstairs and I'd hear the conversation of 20 people outside the door. I felt like it was a very public kind of experience. There's so many people were living. I don't know how many people could live in this building, in this one building. And Gurudev has his room upstairs, so, of course. And now I'm staying in West London. I used to come and I'd stay with, because sometimes I had to come and go quickly. I'd stay with at the house of Divyashari, and Vishaka and her sisters lived there with you know, Ashapurna and Isha. They lived there. So, undoubtedly. And Guru Maharaj was saying that he was instructed by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to come to the West, to come to London. And Guru Maharaj said that he made some comment, I cannot follow their tune. Meaning, that Guru Maharaj wasn't so, in his humility, he didn't feel himself capable of coming to the West and instruct people. Would you go with that? But Guru Maharaj, he established so many mats in India, in Bombay, in Madras, many places in India. Guru Maharaj helped establish the mats there. His definitely was, you know, Param Vaishnava, a great preacher and a leader within the Gaudiya Math. And it was his approval that allowed, you know, so many, what can you say, so many persons to take shelter, find shelter after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Just like I'm relating a situation where I'm going to India and I feel, to a certain extent, you know, a little dispossessed of where I would normally stay. But also, in the chaotic times following the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, many persons could come and get shelter of Srila Guru Maharaj. And I really feel that substantially changed the course of Vaishnavism, of our Gaudiya Vaishnava mission in the whole world. Because in 1977, people were very young, they were very inexperienced. Guru Maharaj said that, I do not see you as masters, I see you as students, but I also consider myself a student. We are all students. So he helped put the whole situation in perspective of who we all were and what was our relationship with, you can say, with the mission of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And well, somebody could say, well, today is Lord Shiva's day, Seva Vikram. Aren't you going to speak something about Lord Shiva? Well, I'll say that Govinda Maharaj said he was the son of Lord Shiva. And we heard a story of how, what was it, one temple, the baby was placed at one temple and some tiger came there.
I mean, first of all, they, his father went to after the baby was born, when he heard the baby was born. There, and probably still today, the maternity room, the men aren't allowed to go in there. But the message came from there, your wife's given birth to a son. And so he went, the temple where they worshipped was the temple of Bururaj, of Lord Shiva. And he went there to tell Lord Shiva, give thanks to Lord Shiva. And he said, Gurudev said, when he got there, it was totally empty. Not even the priests were there. It was all locked up, everything, so. We go there, usually on the parikram. It's a very kind of rural temple. Yeah, the deity of Lord Shiva is in the ground, actually, so it's no fancy temple. It's
There's
very
no
simple.
building of bricks or anything. Right. It's all thatched. But
when his father gave announcement that his son was born, then a voice came, from the Akash, from the sky, from the deity, whatever, and told him, yes, my son is born, and you tell the women, remove the lamp black from his forehead, because he does not need any protection. I give my own protection to him. And he went back and called one of the ladies from the maternity house and said, did you put the lamp black on the boy's forehead? They said, yes. How did you know? And he said, Bururaj told me and told, remove it because he does not need any protection. I'll give my protection. He is my son. Then later, when the baby was a little grown, but still a babe in arms, his mother, Tarangani Devi, her name, she was going through the jungle, and in that time there were still tigers in the Bengal jungle at that time. And as she's going with the baby, a tiger came in front of her in the middle of the jungle, and she placed the baby, Srila Govinda placed him on the ground and told the tiger, this is Lord Shiva's son, what will you do? And the tiger bowed and went away. And also, when Gurudev was living in Calcutta and in his household life, then he was in Calcutta doing some business for Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj became deathly ill, and everyone thought now he will pass away because they could not find any pulse or anything from him. And the doctor's medicine, nothing was working. And so then Harichan Prabhu, he called Govinda Maharaj in Calcutta, said, Guru Maharaj is fading, there's no pulse, no anything. Please come, I'll call you again in an hour's time. So Gurudev said, I was taking my bath, and then I began crying, thinking of Gurudev, that Guru Maharaj is passing. Then I made a prayer, to Lord Shiva. You say I am your son, and you are the master of medicine, so please give some medicine to cure my Guru Maharaj. And he said then very clearly the name of one medicine came from the ether. And he said, but I thought maybe it's the sound of the shower, I just imagined it. So he said, Lord, if you said that name of that medicine, please say again. And he said, and again the name of that medicine very, very strongly came.
Yeah, it was the mother tincture or the mother dose of Nox
Vomica.
Nox Vomica.
Then when Harichan Prabhu called, then Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I'm coming, but now you give this medicine to Guru Maharaj. Lord Shiva's told this medicine, give it to Guru Maharaj. And, okay, then come quickly because we think Guru Maharaj will now leave the world because we can't even find any pulse in him, anything, you know. Then Gurudev said, I caught the last train and I arrived in the mott just after midnight, and when I came, Guru Maharaj sitting in his chair taking prasadam. And I said, Maharaj, what happened? They told me you had no pulse. He said, yes, but then Haricharan Prabhu said that you had told this medicine, and I took that medicine. Now you can see what is the result. So Gurudev always said, this is the grace of Lord Shiva. And he said, when my mother was praying to have a son, she promised Lord Shiva that if you give me a son, he'll be a sannyasi. And she said, I'll give you him as a sannyasi. And Gurudev said, I think she had some idea, because in Bengal, then the tradition was that all young boys, they'll be a sannyasi for a day. They take sannyas for a day, they follow some things, and they get a danda and all of this, and then the next day they just go back to their normal. So he said, I think she was thinking it would be that kind of sannyas. But now you see, Guru Maharaj she promised to Lord Shiva, and now I'm sannyasi. Guru Maharaj is sannyasi.
And so many big doctors would visit, sometimes come to see Guru Maharaj, but Srila Guru Maharaj said that whatever was prescribed or suggested had to have the approval of Govinda Maharaj, which rankled some of them.
Yes.
Anyway. And we see that at the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, the temple of Lord Shiva was established there, because he's the protector of the Dham. Protector of the Dham, and there's a temple there. And I would always see, for me, you can say what kind of sannyas, but I would always see for me, the charm of the Bengali culture, because young girls would come to the temple of Lord Shiva and pray for his blessings to have good husbands. So many would come there and they would worship Lord Shiva. Reminds me of the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the girls would all be worshiping Lord Shiva, and they'd have offerings, and then Mahaprabhu would come and say, give your garlands to me, give your offerings to me. You know, I am the Lord of Lord Shiva, and like this, and he said, and if you give your offerings to me, then I will bless you that you all have very young, handsome husbands, and you will have 7 children. And if you don't give your blessings to me, then you will get an old husband with many co-wives. And then they thought maybe he knows something, nobody. And then Lakshmi Devi, she came. You know, Mahaprabhu had 2 wives, first Lakshmi, then she passed away, then Vishnupriya. But Lakshmi came, and she happily gave the offering to Mahaprabhu. And that was when he was very young. But then I see the temple, I see that I would go to the temple, the first arti in the morning, which I wasn't usually at, but I would sometimes go there, the temple of Lord Shiva, then they'd have the temple of, that temple is Sadashiva Gangadhar, the temple of Lord Shiva. And then the arti of Mahaprabhu in the Govinda Kund, then the arti in the main temple. So those were some of the best years of my life. Going there to Navadip every year and being at that temple. And then, what was that? Almost 30 years going there, so many years. That's why everyone knows that I was there with Srila Prabhupada. Everyone knows that, but that was 7 years like that. I was like 25, 30 years with Srila Govinda Maharaj. So, and Govinda Maharaj would treat us with so much affection, and he'd treat us in such a way, unimaginable, because I could say so many things, but people would criticize us. I remember that people would criticize Srila Govinda Maharaj because of how much affection he had for Srila Govinda Maharaj. People would actually criticize that. They would say that he had, that his affection for Srila Govinda Maharaj was unimaginable, because you didn't see that Guru Maharaj treated Govinda Maharaj as a disciple. They had such a close relationship. It was like the closest of friends. And of course, Govinda Maharaj is always subservient to Srila Guru Maharaj. But that relationship showed us a different relationship between Guru and disciple. And I was there with Srila Govinda Maharaj, and I remember, Govinda Maharaj said that one disciple of Jayatirtha came, and she wanted to cook for Guru Maharaj, and then she made something, and then she brought it up, some pizza, and Guru Maharaj told the Govinda Maharaj, I have my own what I eat, because Guru Maharaj didn't have any teeth. And the Govinda Maharaj said, "Oh, Maharaj, if you just put your finger in it, and just put your finger in your mouth, she will be so satisfied." So Guru Maharaj did that, and Govinda Maharaj said, in this way, he said in jest, he said it made Guru Maharaj overcome his Brahmanism. And then Srila Govinda Maharaj, then sometimes he would shock us by taking something from our plate and eating it. And then he did things like with when Bhakti Kiran Giri Maharaj from the line of the mud of Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj came, then Govinda Maharaj would take something from our plate and make Giri Maharaj eat it. And then when Tirtha Maharaj was with him, I forget, they were traveling, I guess it was in maybe near to Assam or somewhere, and Govinda Maharaj was there, and then he made Tirtha Maharaj eat chocolate. And I think it was on Ekadasi also. So, a very, very affectionate and loving mood. Srila Govinda Maharaj. Sometimes he could be very, stern. But he remarked that I'm like Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath, I have no arms and I have no legs like Jagannath, but I have eyes and I'm seeing everything. So he's observing all the errors that we do, and at the same time he is not reprimanding us and not calling attention, at least not immediately. And sometimes it would be months later that he would, when something, if he corrected you, at the moment you would feel some pain, like a wound. But instead he would take note, because he said, I have eyes and I see everything. And then later he would say something to you, not always directly, but you knew what he was referring to. And he corrected you in that way. I felt like the whole mission by the blessings of Srila. We got through Govinda Maharaj, and with Govinda Maharaj, we got also the blessings of Srila Guru Maharaj, of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Because, I mean, there were even some, what was it, I don't know, years where Srila Guru Maharaj, he wouldn't let anyone up on his veranda. No Bengali could go up on Guru Maharaj's veranda, but the Westerners could go up. But only stay for a few minutes, offer their dandavats, and go back down. But no one else could go up, and the Bengalis couldn't go up on the veranda. But Govinda Maharaj would allow the Westerners to go up and offer obeisances. So there were times when we could not really hear from Srila Guru Maharaj or be with him so much. But always we'd get the blessings of Guru Maharaj, and we'd also hear of Guru Maharaj's Siddhanta and his words and his feelings and everything we would get through Srila Govinda Maharaj. That is my perception, my feeling. I'm feeling that Govinda Maharaj could treat persons who were initiated by Srila Guru Maharaj as his godbrothers. He would treat them sometimes he would treat them like that. But actually there was such a difference that, in the sense that Srila Govinda Maharaj was with Guru Maharaj since 1947. And we came 40 years later, some years later. So there was that. And if he's like our brother, he's like our big brother. He's like our elder brother. And I've seen in the case of an elder brother where there's a difference in years between an elder brother and a younger brother, the elder brother protects the younger brother. That is his position. So anyway, today is a divine appearance day of, what is it? Shivratri. How will you define that? Will you say Shivratri is
his day? His day. You said it perfectly.
And Ratri actually means night.
Yeah, night.
Lord Shiva's.
Many devotees stay up all night to do kirtan. Whole night. Nowadays they used to do that.
Yeah.
Not everyone. It wasn't compulsory, but many devotees would do kirtan the whole night.
Yeah.
On Shivratri. And fast.
The day that I heard in a lecture that Lord Shiva married Parvati. Basically, this Lord Shiva is unborn this day.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You won't say it's his appearance day in the sense that he's unborn that way.
He married and he took that poison 2 days, the journey of the ocean.
Oh, they're churning the ocean, and before they can, and Guru Maharaj explains it. He says, because someone asked him that about and asked him about the churning of the ocean. I believe that verse is mentioned towards the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
That verse. So that's Guru Maharaj. Who was it that asked Guru Maharaj? One person asked Guru Maharaj for an explanation. Why is this verse at the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam? And Srila Guru Maharaj was like in meditation for a little while, didn't answer, and the devotee was saying, "Oh, okay, Maharaj, please forgive me." And he was ready to go, and then Srila Guru Maharaj began to speak, and he said, why were they churning the ocean? What was it they were trying to do? Why were they churning the ocean? And then he shouted, they were trying to produce nectar. They were trying to produce nectar. And then he was describing how the Srimad Bhagavatam is giving them blessings of the Sankirtan movement, and that is the real nectar being produced. But first, they were trying to produce nectar, but before they produced nectar, the whole ocean turned into poison. And what they were going to do, or deadly poison, and Lord Shiva came and took that poison. Nilakanta. He has a mark on his neck, a blue mark, from that poison. And then Lord Shiva took the poison. They said a few drops fell and were taken by cobras and other snakes and spiders, and they also got some of that poison, as the story goes. And then there's the story of Mohini Murti that they tell, because on that day we go to Harihara Kshetra. And at Harihara Kshetra, they're producing, they produce the nectar, and then the devas and the asuras are going to take that nectar. It's actually amrita, it's the nectar of immortality. So both the devas and the asuras are going to get that, but then Mohini Murti comes, and Mohini Murti, she makes some maya, some illusion for the asuras. And she says, oh, you see these devas, they're like little children. They will cry if they don't get the amrita. So you let them take first, and then you are the real man, and then you can take the nectar afterwards. But it was a plan to trick the asuras. The devas are going to take that nectar, but one of the asuras came to, he was disguised as a deva. You know, that Rahu's there. And you see this in the Bangkok airport. There's diorama that is like 20 feet long or more.
Yeah.
So in big figures, and there's the asuras on one end, and they all have fangs and tusks and everything, and on the other side is the devas. But among the devas is Rahu, and Rahu's disguised as a deva, but he has tusks. So Mohini Murti notes that, and just when he's about to drink the nectar, she throws the disc, and it separates Rahu from Ketu, and they both become like blessed by some immortality. And so the story goes. But anyway, that later Lord Shiva said, oh, I have said to the Lord, to Vishnu, I have seen all your pastimes and everything, but I did not witness this of Mohini Murti. So I'm not going to tell that whole story, but I started to tell it, and then how can I get out of this? Anyway, Lord Shiva's enchanted by that Mohini Murti, and finally he's able to catch her, and he embraces Mohini Murti, and at that time she changes back into Vishnu. And when she changes back into Vishnu, you see the deity of Harihara, half Shiva and half Hari. And that deity is half black and half white. You know, the face of the deity, half black and half white. That is the deity at Harihara Kshetra of Harihara. The story behind that related with Mohini Murti and Lord Shiva. But I'm not really telling so much of, you know, then there's some difference in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat says that Advaita Acharya, he's Sadashiva. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita says that Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu. Then you can see there's some little difference, and then we heard explanation, I believe, by Guru Maharaj says, well, in terms of ontology, I guess the word is ontology, there's some close proximity between Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva. Mahavishnu, his glance becomes Shambhu when he glances at the material nature. So the glance comes out as Shambhu. The glance of Mahavishnu, you can say, comes out as Shambhu. Anyway, there's all, and then there's, what is it? What's the verse of the Brahma Samhita? You know how that verse goes about. He's saying that is, milk is changed to yogurt by a culturing agent. You have milk and it becomes yogurt by a culturing agent. So the culturing agent, you can say, is the touch, the connection with that, whatever the connection is with Maya, that there's a difference between Vishnu and Lord Shiva. In one sense, there is, you could say that Lord Shiva is neither Vishnu Tattva nor Jiva Tattva. He is between the two, like that. You can say, like yogurt is neither, yogurt is a transformation of milk, and milk can be transferred into yogurt, but yogurt cannot be transformed into milk. Like that, there's some description this way in the Brahma Samhita about Lord Shiva. Okay, so on this day we'll give some obeisances and remember my god brother, our Yudhamanyu Seva Vikram, on this day of his disappearance on Shiva Ratri, Shiva's divine day. So what more can I say? I'm not very qualified. So, do you have? So you'll say something more?
Yeah, still offering Tarkesh for
I've just finished offering, then we can do devotees if you want.
Okay, I just found this morning, which is from the Chaitanya Carita Mahakavya of Murari Gupta, 8 prayers glorifying Lord Shiva spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'm just going to read those. Namo, namaste, tri-dasesvaraya, bhutadi, nathaya, mrdaya, nityam, ganga-tarangotthita-bala-candra, cudaya, gauri-nayanotsavaya. I repeatedly offer my obeisance unto you, the controller of the 30 primal demigods, unto you, the original father of all created beings, unto you, whose character is gracious, unto you, whose head is crested by the sickle moon arisen from the waves of the Ganga, and unto you, who are a festival for the eyes of the fair goddess Gauri. Sutapta chamikara chandranila, padma pravalambudha kanti bastarhai, sa nritya rangesta bara pradaya, kaivalya nathaya brisha dvajaya. I offer my obeisance unto you, who are dressed in garments resembling molten gold, the moon, blue lotuses, coral, and dark rain clouds. Unto you, who bestow the most desirable boons on your devotees by means of your delightful dancing. Unto you, who are the master of the impersonalists, and unto you, whose flag bears the image of the bull. Sudamasu surjagni vilochanena tammo bide te jagataha shivaya. Sahasra sambramashu sahasra rashmi sahasra sanjit twara tejasestu. I offer my obeisances unto you, who dispels darkness with your 3 eyes, the moon, the sun, and fire. Unto you, who causes auspiciousness for all the living entities of the universe, unto you whose potency easily defeats that of thousands of moons and suns. Nagesha Ratnojwala Bigrahaya Sardula Chamam Shuka Dibya Tejase Sahasra Patropori Samstiti Taya Varangada Mukta Bhuja Dvayaya. I offer my obeisance unto you, whose form is brilliantly illuminated by the jewels of Ananta, the king of snakes, unto you, who are clothed by a tiger skin, and thus radiate divine effulgence, unto you who sits upon 1,000-petaled lotus, and unto you whose 2 arms are adorned by lustrous bangles. Sunupura Ranjita Pada Padma Karat Shuddha Britya Shukha Pradaya Vichitta Ratnoga Vibhushitaya Premanam evadya harau videhi. I offer my obeisance unto you, who brings happiness to your servitors, as you pour on them the liquid nectar from your 2 reddish lotus feet, which ring with charming ankle bells. Obeisance unto you, who is adorned with an abundance of gems, please endow me with pure love of Lord Hari. Sri Rama Govinda Mukunda Shure Sri Krishna Narayana Vasudeva Iti Adi Namamritapana Mata Bringadi Payakila Dukkha Hantre. O Sri Ram, O Govinda, O Mukunda, O Suri, O Sri Krishna, O Narayana, O Vasudeva. I offer my obeisances unto you, Lord Shiva, the monarch of intoxicated bee-like devotees, maddened by drinking the nectar of these and other holy names of the Lord. Obeisance unto you, the destroyer of all grief. Sri Naradadaya Satatam Sugopya Jignasita Jasha Vara Pradaya Tebyo Hari Bhakti Shukha Pradaya Shivaya Sarva Guruve Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisance again and again unto you, who is forever inquired of confidentially by Sri Narad and other sages, unto you, who also grants favors to them very quickly, unto you, who bestows the happiness of Hari Bhakti, unto you, who creates auspiciousness, and unto you, who is the Guru of everyone. Shri gauri-nayanotsavaya mangalaya tat prana nathaya rasa pradaya sada samutkanta govinda lila gana pravinaya namostu tubhyam. I offer my obeisance unto you, who are a festival of auspiciousness for the eyes of Goddess Gauri, unto you, who is the monarch of her life breath, unto you, who is capable of bestowing transcendental rasa, and unto you, who is expert in forever singing songs of the pastimes of Lord Govinda with great longing. Etat Shivasyayastakam adbhutam mahat Srinvan Hari Prema Labheta Sigram Jananam Cha Vigyanam Apurva Vaibhavam Jo Bhava Purna Paramam Samadaram. A person filled with loving feelings, who hears with rapt attention this wonderful eightfold prayer to Lord Shiva, can quickly gain Sri Hari Prema, as well as transcendental knowledge, the realization of that knowledge, and unprecedented powers. Good. Oh, there we are.
Lord Shiva has his own, the Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Rudra Sampradaya. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, in South India there's some clash between the Vaishnavas and the Shivites. So much so that the Vaishnavas there, they say, if you're being chased by a tiger and the only way to escape is entering in the temple of Lord Shiva, better to enter into the mouth of the tiger. And Srila Govinda Maharaj was telling that and joking, and he said, but we do not think like that. We are thinking Lord Shiva is Vaishnava Shrestha, the leader of the Vaishnavas. And always having some connection with the Lord and his Leela.
And Mahaprabhu, when he traveled, he went to temple of Lord Shiva.
Oh, yeah.
And there in Prayag, there's a temple of Lord Shiva that Mahaprabhu visited, right?
Yeah.
That is what is the name of that temple in Prayag?
Kashi Vishwanath.
Huh?
Kashi Vishwanath.
So anyhow, his divine day today. And that's the announcement. Time for arati. Jai Ganga-dara Sadashiva ki jai. Jai Yudhamanyu Prabhu Seva Vikram ki jai. Jai Dainidhi Prabhu. Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Guru Dev ki jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanam.
Sri Chaitanya Carita Mahakavya.